Hey guys, it's Wednesday, February the 28th. I was really hoping yesterday was just a bad dream, but I woke up and it's real. If it moves, it's bad. Oh God, it's gone. It sounds terrible when this thing goes. Florida Van Man says, you can run it without it. Let's see how it works. I'm gonna go buy another one, but obviously I've got to drive it until then without it, so let's do it. Guess what? It's fucked. Well, this is not fun. I am on the side of 70 with like no shoulder, and I'm pretty sure my van just blew up. It was a crazy noise, and there is oil coming from areas that there should not be oil coming from. Tow truck's here. Need to put it in neutral, don't I? Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I need to put a strap under it, and then just leave it in neutral for right now so I can tighten it down.
Okay. Yay.
Giant bottle of oil.
Never a good sign. Not investigated yet. That's what this video is going to be. We're going to find out what exactly happened, what's wrong with it, but I don't have a good feeling. Like, I've been here before.
Okay, understood. Nothing hooked up right now?
At least this time, I have a house I can stay in still. Generator still works. I still have power, water, and all that good stuff. I just don't have a working engine. Last time, you know, it was just totaled, like lost everything all at once. Destroyed my stuff, everything. So, Mom always said I had duck feathers, and I let stressful situations just roll right off my back the way that ducks allow water to just roll off of their back. But this one might be a little bit oily. It might take a little soap to get the feathers clean this time. This sucks. I don't want to do the whole influencer thing, like you guys want to help me out, make a donation, contribution, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just had to figure it out. I don't even want to pop the hood in the cold right now. I think I'm gonna go back to bed. Well, I took a nap. Woke up and van's still fucked. First order of business. Do we have water? Hell yeah, she's full. Sweet. So I've got plenty of water at least. We have oil puddled under the van this morning. Yep, there's another puddle back there. Far back too.
Right now, I don't have any availability for a couple weeks. You can have it towed here, and we can put you on the schedule and get to you just as soon as we can. But this is my third engine in the week.
Fine.
So those are bigger jobs, so they kind of put us back a little bit further.
So here's my next dilemma. I live out of this van.
That is a dilemma.
Yes.
What would you like to do? What are you going for here?
I really don't know. That's why I was calling to see, one, how far you guys are out, what you could get to, and then if I do live in it, what's the scenario whenever you're working on it? I'm assuming you don't want me in it while you're working on it.
That's a true statement. Just because liability, we can't have somebody in it. I mean, I can. Lots of questions here, Chris.
Right. So the house portion of it is fine, and my power and all of that is good. I just have no engine to be able to drive it anywhere. So I'm like, crap, that means I'm probably going to end up having to pay for a hotel room for a couple days, which is going to add even more expense to this.
Mm-hmm.
And how long of a job is it if you do have to replace the full engine?
Okay, so tell you what. All of my technicians went to lunch at 1 o'clock, so you just called like 5 minutes into their lunch. I can have one of them give you a call and kind of go over timelines and options with you at 2 when they come back. Would that work for you?
Yes, that'll work for me. Let's see if we can get up under this thing and see anything up under here. Oh, where is she coming out at? There's oil coming out of the back of the valve cover gasket back here. See it? Grab some tools and see what we can see. This is where there's a lot of disadvantages to being a bigger dude. My hands don't fit in a lot of places that most guys will. I can only imagine being somebody like Andre the Giant or some shit. Dude, these injectors look clean. There's oil all over the back of that. From what I can see, around the injectors is clean. There's definitely oil somewhere back here. You see oil there, all down through here. Towards the back, I see oil. It's leaking under the valve cover gasket. Or above it, one of the two. But all of the injectors seem clean. There's no black death. There's oil all up in that. I don't know exactly what this means yet, but there was oil all up under that, and that's a an air, well shit, it's a intake line from the turbo there, pulling air from up in here. Maybe this is, I don't know what the, I don't know. I don't know enough about engines to know what the hell's going on in here. Somebody in the comments tell me what's up here. I know that it's not good that there's oil up here. I do know that much. It's like puddled in here. Oil up in there, puddled. I figured out the part that I took off is the crankcase breather, and that in there is a filter that is not supposed to be black. Let's pull it off and clean it. Yeah, that is completely saturated in oil. I'm out of brake cleaner now. I didn't have a whole lot of it to begin with, so good old Randy's on the way with a gas can. Maybe I can talk him into running me to a parts store for some gloves, brake cleaner, and I don't know, possibly some kind of tools to work on some shit with. Who showed up? Savior. He broke down. This makes a couple times you've done this, isn't it?
Yeah, he's broke. Without a bus, it's 50. It's not on 4 wheels. It broke down.
Go get parts. So while Randy was here, we tried to crank it, and it did crank, but it wouldn't keep running. It sounded pretty terrible, pretty rough, and he was like, that sounds like a fuel problem, dude. A lot of other people said fuel problem. So let's start chasing down fuel. Oh yeah, also the puddle of oil that we were seeing up under it, Randy and I were thinking that where the crankcase breather was leaking oil, towards the back of that valve cover, it was puddled up there. Well, because I stopped on a pretty good hill, we were thinking, okay, well maybe it leached over the back of this because there's no seal top on the top there. Leached over the back, and that's where that little bit of oil we were seeing came from, because I said giant puddle, but it was actually kind of small. So then our thought process was, well, there's oil up under here and it has not been cranked since it's been parked here. We were thinking that whenever it came off the back of the rollback, it was on a steeper angle and more of it leached over the side, and that's where it came from. We were totally wrong, but that's what we were thinking. So let's start tracking down fuel problems. It's now Thursday the 29th. Randy picked me up and we picked up some stuff, and I'm gonna continue to try here. I'm gonna start out with cleaning the filter on the crankcase breather and then putting some gasket maker on it so that it doesn't leak oil anymore around that, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Now, I've used an entire can of brake cleaner on this thing, but it's come a long way, especially considering where it was whenever we first started. It's a whole different color now. It was just black solid gunk. Put a gasket sealer on there, put that back on, change fuel filter, see if we can get a little bit better fuel quality to it, and then go from there, I guess. I got a feeling I'm gonna need to replace injectors, and that's not cheap on this van. They're like close to $300 a piece. There's 5 of them, so you're talking like 1,500 bucks to do them. And you got to replace the crush washers, because that is what causes black death. And I've actually had that done on this van. We've pulled them before and replaced the crush washers to make sure that I don't get black death, and that's the reason why there's no black death around these injectors, because this van is notorious for that. I've got a couple friends who've had to do it, and I watched plenty of videos on it, and it scared me enough that I did the preventative for it. I've not done the preventative on a lot of other things, obviously. I've replaced the turbo, but the turbo's had all kinds of problems. Or we've had boost leak or something. I've had some kind of turbo issue, but quite honestly, I haven't been able to afford to fix it, or it hasn't been enough of a problem to stop it in its tracks like it currently is. So that's unfortunately how I do things very often. I wait until she's dead, then I fix it. Bad about doing that with everything. You would think I'd learn, especially with a wakeboard freaking actually killing me one time. Knocked me out and I drowned because I was riding a broken wakeboard. Whole different color, like I said. Like, look at that thing. It was as black as my gloves. I got new gasket maker on it. Let's see if we can get her to seat. Oh, I have a torque crank, so I just gotta like guess it. Alright, so I'm gonna finish cleaning off all of the oil on this side of the engine that I can. That way, if it does leak again, it will show itself. Right now, there's oil everywhere, and if you don't clean it off, you can't tell where new oil is showing up at. The next step, replace fuel filter. Then I'm hoping I can get somebody come by with a scan tool, where I can get a scan tool and figure out which cylinder needs an injector. Oh, where'd that screw just go? Boy, she was stuck that time. Done this a few times. That was stuck. thought that I'd filmed this, but I also had it running and unplugged each injector individually, and it did run worse every time I unplugged an injector. So they're all working, but they're maybe not working properly. If it's fuel, it could be, from what I understand, the pump in the tank, it could be the high pressure pump, and it could be the injectors. Now, the guy at Linden said that if the high pressure pump is failing, it won't start at all. We're kind of not starting. We kind of are starting. Like, does that mean that it is going out? Is it a stopped up injector and it's just not getting fuel through, and it finally was enough of a load on the injector that it just shut it down as I was driving up the hill? I don't know. This is all just speculation. This is a learning experience for me. If you guys can help me out in the comments, it would be great. If you know a mechanic in Denver who you think could tackle this and get to it, send them my way. Let me know in the comments how to get a hold of them. Yeah, hell, send them this video so they can see where I'm at and what's going on. On days like today, I am very thankful that I put a shower in this van. All right, so it's now Friday the 1st. I've had a lot of people message a lot of things. They were like, does the timing chain look right? It does to me. It's on the gears, nothing looks broken, frayed, anything like that. They said, was your dipstick blown out and pulled out? No, it was push done in. So we're not getting blow by there. They said whenever you run it, with this off, is oil pouring out of this? Or is it just a little bit of smoke? It's just a little bit of smoke. There's no real oil coming out of it. So all of those are good signs. Several people are thinking that we have a fuel injector problem, so I gotta test that. We got another thing to test. I left the tools in there. So next I'm going to pop this line off, kink it back there. That's what he told me to do. And he said if it's just bubbling fuel up to the top, then it's working properly. If it's shooting it out like a geyser, then it's bad. Already popped the clips. I already actually pulled those three. Just let's see, a little harder there. I'm not gonna lie, this is freaking heartbreaking. I'm gonna show you what I just discovered. So I was checking all the fuel deal, and I was convinced for a minute that it was a fuel issue. Then I saw this. That's fucked! There's a lot of oil coming out of the back of the engine. I got a feeling the freaking crank is broke. But that's what it is. But the crank is broke. Shit. Flash forward, it's now Monday. Still fucked. I've spent a lot of time online in forums, watching videos and everything else, and everything I see other than Florida Van Man and a few others says not to drive or run a vehicle with no harmonic balancer on it. That's why I think I broke my crank. I could be lucky and it didn't break it. It's just bearings. The whole crank doesn't have to come out, and it's only the bearings and the rear main seal. I'm hoping that it's leaking oil out the rear main seal. I can't find a hole anywhere else, and it's only running, or it's only leaking oil when it's running, which would lead me to believe that maybe the crank is maybe shaking and letting oil pass by it, and it's also losing oil pressure there, and maybe that's also the reason why it's not running well. And I don't know, all speculation at this point. So Lyndon, the one that I was on the phone with, they are the Sprinter specialist in this area, and because they're the specialist, they're backed up. You heard her say they just took in 3 engines. The quickest they said they could get me in is the 20th. Today is the 4th. 16 more days of sitting in this parking lot. That's just before they can even get to it to diagnose it. And then who knows how long it's gonna take for them to work on it. And you heard her say, I can't stay in it while I'm there. So I'm gonna be up a creek without a paddle for a little while. I got 16 days to figure it out. Or somebody can come by and save me in the meantime, it'd be great. It's turning a very low RPM, which I've had people say that could be oil pressure. I've had people say that could be fuel. I'm stumped. I've tested everything that I can test. I've done everything that I can do here. I don't know. Somebody tell me what to do next. Well, that's all for this one. I don't really know a whole lot. I'm just kind of dead in the water. Share this video. Maybe somebody can help me figure this out. See you guys on the next one. Talking to this camera and fixing shit. Van's still fucked.